Hi guys, it's Katie Halper. It's super early today for me. In general, it's really early, and it's certainly very early for me to stream. But I'm going to not be streaming tonight because, as people know, I stream Monday, and I highly encourage people to check out that live stream with Norman Finkelstein. It was pretty great, if I do say so myself. Um, and I'll be doing other, maybe I'll be doing some more check-ins, live check-ins or live breaking news-ish reports. But in terms of a sit-down interview show, not going to be doing that tonight. I will be, of course, doing one again on Sunday. And yeah, what else? Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you share it, do all that stuff. And just wanted to make sure you knew that I wasn't going to do a sit down interview show tonight, but I will be, there's so much to cover. Who knows what the day, the week will bring, but I will be here on Sunday night. And yeah, let me know in comments what you maybe want me to talk about. I mean, there's a lot of news out there. Probably going to be talking about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which is a misnomer. Talk about the occupation. And I think that's about it. Anything else that I need to say today? Stay safe, stay strong, stay in school. Check out if you're more of a podcast person, I also have a podcast, but of course I appreciate people coming here live. But maybe you have loved ones. Maybe you have loved ones who listen to podcasts, don't watch video. So make sure they go here. Also, just big shout out to my own Patreon, where I'll be dropping some bonus little gems of things that I've cut out or taken down from the live stream. And yeah, please do subscribe and ring the bell, so then you'll get notified of surprise live casts like these. What else? Do you guys know I also go on Rising? Just doing a little get to know Katie better. I do go on Rising. Obviously, we have the show Useful Idiots. Let me know, guys, if there are ever any, God, this is me pre-caffeinated. If there are ever any live events that you'd like us to live stream, maybe I'll do some Bodhi stuff. Also, what would you like as people who watch the show live? Anything you'd like for Patreon? There's also a Discord that you can join for Patreon. And that, again, I'll be posting it. I don't really understand how that works. I guess you have to update the password or something. I don't get Discord. I think I'm probably gonna, not to like take down the fourth wall, this is probably incredibly boring, but I think I'm gonna make Discord free, accessible, and then maybe I will make certain sections of it paywalled. What else? You know what? Now that I'm here, should we check out some Democracy Now! Headlines? Or that would have to be from yesterday, right? Because I think it's too early. This is very early for me. Really early. Very, very early for me, as you can maybe tell from my demeanor. Although not really, because I'm powering through. I didn't sleep that much last night because I tend to go to bed later, wake up later, and then can't really just make myself go to bed earlier. Out of the blue like that without a major transition. Let's see, what do we got? 23 hours ago. I mean, I think they're literally still doing Democracy Now!, so you can't blame them for not having the stuff up. But yeah, let's see, any good headlines? Let's go check should we check in with the Democracy Now! Headlines? Over to you, Amy. Hold on. Over to you, Amy and Juan Gonzalez in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Can you tell how tired I am from my eyes? You know, it's funny. I did a live stream just literally announcing from an Uber that I wasn't going to be doing the show on Sunday because it was Mother's Day. But again, remember, guys, I did a great stream on Monday. And it got it's kind of pathetic, I guess, or kind of cool. It got a lot of views, like more views in a live stream that was like 1 minute and 32 seconds. Nermeen Sheikh. I'm Nermeen Sheikh. Let's see. Headlines will brighten the day. Okay, sure. Are you sure about that? You may change your mind about that in 1 second. Let me also try to can I do this? Hold on. I think if my video is not listed as like, 1 second. Can I edit it so it's part of the Katie Halper Show playlist. I think maybe that makes it so that people get it. Let's see, the Katie Halper show. It's not a great photo I took of myself, I'm not gonna lie. All right. So what else? Okay, let's go to Democracy Now! In 1 second. These are like stream of consciousness, not fully caffeinated Katie streams. That should be Patreon. Thanks, Ivan. Yvonne. How much Lenin have I read? Not enough. I should have Esha on to teach me more Lenin. How is this limited, guys? This is limited. I have limited ads. I just tried to monetize this. What on earth could be in here that makes it limited? Do you know what I'm saying? That's weird. Like, just legit don't understand. I mean, I have a lot of stuff that's rightfully limited, like with ads, which means, I know that if I write about it, if I do something about Israel, that's going to get limited ads. But why the hell is this limited ads? You want to know what it says? It literally says thoughts for today / no show for tonight. That's it. That's the headline. And there's nothing in the content. YouTube, you're on notice. Imagine that, YouTube doing something bad. Weird indeed, right? Okay, let's go for some Democracy Now! Headlines. That's always going to make, you'll definitely be cheered up by those. These are from Thursday. No, these are from Friday. Okay, 1 second, guys. I could do these as Patreon, maybe. Like, you miss them. Yeah. You snooze, you lose. Russia something. Hello, comrade, my old friend. Okay, here we go. Ready? Here's what we got. Ready? In Gaza, the death toll has risen. At least 50 Palestinians killed as Israeli attacks continue. Protests call out Israeli crimes. That call out culture for you. In Gaza, the death toll has risen to at least 48 Palestinians as Israeli forces continued their bombing attack on the besieged territory. At least 14 children have been killed. Hundreds have been wounded. In the occupied West Bank, Israeli forces have killed 2 Palestinians, including a Palestinian teenager who was shot dead during a raid. Israel reported 6 deaths and at least 100 injured in Hamas-led strikes. On Tuesday, a 13-story residential power block in Gaza collapsed after an Israeli air raid, but no casualties were reported as residents were able to vacate the building before it was hit. Israeli rockets attacked a 9-story building in Gaza early today. This is a resident of Gaza City speaking in front of a car that was hit by Israeli rocket fire earlier today, killing multiple people. Abed al-Daya. What should I say? This is a crime. They were civilians, a woman, her children, a barber, a shop owner. These are the people who were at the scene. It didn't hit a militant nor an official. We are civilians sleeping at our homes. End quote. The deadly attacks come after hundreds of Palestinians were injured in Jerusalem and the West Bank by Israeli security forces on Monday and over the weekend, including during crackdowns at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem and over ongoing protests to stop the expulsion of Palestinians from the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood. Okay, so there's that. You know what I realized I actually should do, because we can do that again, or people can just go to Democracy Now! For the headlines. But this is what I realized would be, this is a good one. Very sad. French court tosses lawsuit from Agent Orange victim against chemical companies. French court has thrown out a lawsuit by French-Vietnamese activists against over a dozen companies, including Dow Chemical and Monsanto, that produced and sold Agent Orange, which was used by the U.S. military during the Vietnam War. The case was brought by Tran Tinoga Tana, herself a victim of Agent Orange. She vowed to appeal the decision. U.S. warplanes dumped about 18 million gallons of the poisonous chemical during the Vietnam War, leaving millions of people with disabilities and illnesses, including cancer, heart, and birth defects. How can you not? How do you lose a lawsuit? How do they deny her lawsuit? But you know what I'm going to do? Because I think that this is actually really important. And big shout out to Alan Macleod, who everyone should be following. But here's what I'm going to do. I asked for this. I was like, has anyone put together a list of people, a list of examples of very bad bias, pro-Israel, anti-Palestine bias? Okay, so Alan Macleod delivered, who is a senior staff writer at Mint Press, He also writes for Fair Media, for Fair, The Guardian, and provides, coverage of Latin American politics and is bitterly complaining about corporations. That's what he says. He does. He self-identifies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a really good thread that he put together, documenting all just the absurd bias of the media coverage of the occupation, of the violence. Okay, so good on Alan, for real, guys. Okay, hold on. That's what I'll change this name to, the name of the screen to. Okay, Alan Macleod. Macleod. I think he's Scottish. Erete, Alan Macleod. Thread. I'm collecting many of the most egregious media depictions of the Israeli assault on Palestine. Okay, this is serious, so I'll drop the accent. Please add any you've seen. Hashtag Palestinian Lives Matter. 1, the New York Post totally reversing who's responsible, claiming Hamas bombed itself with its own non-existent jets. And then shows the headline, airstrikes from Hamas militants killed 20 in Israel, including 9 kids. All right, that's a good one. They did correct it, but when they corrected the headline, it was no longer about the kids or innocent people killed. It was about Hamas anyway. Okay. DW News tweet implies that the Palestinian kids murdered by Israel were actually fighters themselves. And then he reads, screenshot of the headline. Palestinian health officials in the Gaza Strip say 20 people, including 9 children, have been killed in fighting with Israel. Okay. Now the AP. Palestinian rockets kill 2 Israelis, but 26 Gazans simply die under mysterious circumstances. Nice switching between active and passive voice. Also, kudos for leading with 2 Israeli deaths, which suggests they are more important and newsworthy than 26 Palestinians. And the AP story reads, headline, rockets kill 2 Israelis, 26 die in Gaza as Israel hits Hamas. Pretty fucking interesting, huh? All right. I'm going to read the headlines and then read his analysis of each one. Okay, then we got Reuters. Hamas and Israel trade blows as Jerusalem unrest ignites Gaza. And so Alan writes that presenting an unprovoked Israeli attack against the civilian population as Hamas and Israel trading blows is masterful propaganda from Reuters, suggesting equal complicity and casualties. Then we go to the Washington Post, which reports, what clashes have erupted in Jerusalem in recent days? Monday began with more than 300 Palestinians who had come to pray at Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem's Old City during the holy month of Ramadan, injured in clashes with Israeli forces who fired rubber bullets, tear gas, and stun grenades. Confrontations between Israeli police, Palestinian protesters, and far-right Jewish Israelis continued throughout the day. And Alan writes, the Washington Post presents an Israeli terror attack on a sacred mosque during Ramadan presented as a clash. Many worshippers' bodies clashed with Israeli bullets. That's what as he puts it. And it is true that clash is a favorite word because when you talk about clashes, it just makes it sound like both sides, right? So as he writes, the word clash is a favorite of dishonest journalists, allowing them to gloss over who was actually responsible. Every big outlet is using the trick. Clash in media speak is just a euphemism for massacre, as I wrote about in 2019. And then we'll go to his fair piece later. But here are some clash headlines. I believe this is from like a Twitter one. Twitter, what's happening, Twitter thing. Hundreds injured after violent clashes between Palestinians and Israeli police at Al-Aqsa Mosque. CNN, at least 100 injured in second night of clashes between Israeli police and Palestinians in Jerusalem. Palestinian Red Crescent says. Here's Reuters. Israeli police, Palestinians clash at Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa. Scores injured. Remember, it's not really a clash. It's one side, that has an entire army, extremely militarized state, and is the occupying power. They're showing up with rubber bullets and stun grenades. This is amazing. Here, just reading from the Middle East, reading from the Reuters article. Here's the opening of the article. Israeli police fired rubber bullets and stun grenades towards rock-hurling Palestinian youth at Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque on Friday, amid growing anger over the potential eviction of Palestinians from homes on the land claimed by Jewish settlers. So there's extremist violence and extremist evictions happening that people here would not tolerate if done in this blatant a manner. And so, but all the onus is on the rock throwing youth who are in this, who are praying. Literally, there's footage of the Israelis just coming in while these people are praying, and they're not throwing rocks; they're just praying. Hold on, my nose is running. This is a handkerchief I have. Okay. Let's see. Then we have New York Times. Israelis and Palestinians clash around Jerusalem's Old City. The violence broke out as an extremist Jewish supremacy group marched in the city chanting death to Arabs. That's actually pretty good. A pretty good subheader. I mean, the headline has the trope, the false equivalency trope about clashes, but at least that opening sentence does call out extremist Jewish supremacy group. I mean, I don't know how much choice they had if they were going to cover it, because they were marching around saying death to Arabs. So, yeah. All right. Now where are we? Let's see. 5. All right. Then we got Mint. Oh, that's his. Okay. Then we got CBS News claiming that deaths are mounting on both sides. And the CBS News headline reads, Israel to ramp up deadly airstrikes on Gaza as rockets rain down and deaths mount on both sides. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, right? You're saying there's violence coming from Gaza, so they're going to retaliate, except as we all know, the Gaza rockets at this point had not killed a single person or injured a single person, but was used as justification for Israel to ramp up deadly airstrikes on Gaza. So they're already doing that and they're ramping it up. And as Alan writes, here's CBS News claiming that deaths are mounting both sides is 26 plus hundreds of serious injuries to 2 worthy of both sides treatment. And how is 2 people a mounting death toll anyway? Another attempt to sow confusion where there should be clarity. Oh, I guess there were 2 deaths at this point. Sorry, by the rockets. But as he points out, Israel is not responding to attacks. It carried out an unprovoked one against civilians celebrating Ramadan. That's really important. Okay, guys, remember when they stormed the mosque and threw grenades and rubber bullets, that was unprovoked. There had been no violence from said mosque, from the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and it's the 3rd holiest site in Islam. So imagine if people had done that to a holy Jewish site. Okay. So Israel is not responding to attacks that carried out an unprovoked one against civilians celebrating Ramadan. Also note the use of the passive voice, 20 dead, not Israel kills 20. Horrible reporting from Evening Standard. And then we go to Evening Standard, where it says, headline, 20 dead in Gaza as Israel responds to Hamas rocket fire. Again, Israel's just doing its job, but responding to things. 20 people, including 9 children, have been killed in the Gaza Strip amid clashes with Israel, according to Palestinian health officials. The death toll made it one of the bloodiest days of fighting in several years. It came after Hamas militants fired dozens of rockets into Israel, including a barrage that set off air raid sirens as far away as Jerusalem. The health ministry did not provide a breakdown of the cause of deaths, but at least 7 members of one family, including 3 children, were killed in an explosion in northern Gaza. Yeah, maybe a bunch of people just had heart attacks randomly and had nothing to do with deadly airstrikes. Okay, Alan writes, the Israeli government as a policy always tries to present itself as responding or reacting and not the initiator. DW News, CGTN America, MSN, and CBS News all followed the convention too during their work for them and whitewashing a massacre. So we have a headline from, I believe this is DW News. Israel responds to Hamas rockets with deadly airstrikes in Gaza. Several Palestinians, including 9 children, have been killed in the Gaza Strip as Israel responds to rockets fired by Hamas. World leaders have condemned the violence and called for de-escalation. So again, they had no choice but to respond to rockets, which killed nobody at this point. They had no choice but to respond to that by killing 9 children. And other people. Okay, New York Times, Jerusalem. Let's see, New York Times. Gaza militants fire rockets at Jerusalem. Israel responds with airstrikes. Again, nothing about these forced evictions, nothing about attacking Islam's 3rd holiest site, nothing about, in general, just the occupation, an illegal occupation. So illegal, in fact, that not only did Human Rights Watch, which is hardly critical of Israel, but not only did they release a report calling Israel an apartheid state, pretty big news, but B'Tselem, an Israeli human rights organization, released its own report, also acknowledging that's an apartheid state. And that was not reported on, as Norman Finkelstein said. You'd think that the New York Times would find this important. Israel's biggest human rights organization that deals with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, or that deals with the occupation. This is a Jewish Israeli organization, right? So much for people who say it's anti-Semitic to criticize Israel. They themselves called it an apartheid state. Okay, so none of that background is ever presented. So go back to the totally out of context, biased, decontextualized, manipulated news on this. New York Times, as we said, Gaza militants fire rockets at Jerusalem. Israel responds with airstrikes. Jerusalem in a sudden crescendo of violence. Sudden crescendo out of nowhere. Again, nothing about the evictions, nothing about the storming of Al-Aqsa. In a sudden crescendo of violence on Monday evening, militants in Gaza fired rockets toward Jerusalem, and the Israeli military responded with airstrikes. The exchange followed a police raid that morning on the Aqsa Mosque, one of Islam's holiest sites, that left hundreds of Palestinians and a score of police officers wounded, capping weeks of unrest in the city. Let's see. CGTN, 9 killed in Gaza as Israel's military responds to Hamas rocket attack. God, Israel has so much responding to do. CBC, Israel responds to Hamas rockets with airstrikes after Israeli police and Palestinian protesters clash. Health officials in Gaza report at least 20 people killed as rocket fire draws heavy Israeli retaliation. That is so funny. Look at that. It's not funny, but rocket fire drew heavy Israeli retaliation. Again, nothing happened to set this up. Totally out of the blue. And, retaliation that in the form of deadly airstrikes, as opposed to rockets that are largely symbolic, as Norman Finkelstein said. Yeah. That's how they report on it. Okay, let's see. Let's see. God, okay. Then he notes that there's another thing that people like to do, which is they talk about trading rocket fire. Trade rocket fire makes it sound like modified bottle rockets. That's the other thing. These are modified bottle rockets, okay? These are not advanced weaponry. So trade rocket fire makes it sound like modified bottle rockets from Gaza are equivalent to the most advanced and deadly missiles Raytheon and General, I think, is it Dynamics or Dynamics, have to offer. DW News, Jerusalem tensions, Israel and Hamas trade rocket fire. Violence is continuing for a fourth day in Jerusalem. Hamas has launched a rocket attack toward the holy city, only for the Israeli military to hit back with airstrikes of its own. Follow DW for the latest. Of its own. Again, false equivalence, okay? A volcano force of nature erupts. Violence doesn't erupt. It has perpetrators. But that's the point of this language, to hide who is killing whom. And then he goes to a Reuters headline. Violence erupts at Al-Aqsa Mosque as Israel marks Jerusalem Day. Here is the New York Post, not surprisingly, presenting Hamas as the aggressor while Israel was merely involved in clashes. Hamas launches new attack on Israel after Jerusalem clashes. Okay. Jesus fucking Christ. You'd never guess from this Reuters headline that the guy had rammed 2 Palestinians with his car before this photo was taken. Palestinians stone Israeli car, which crashes as Jerusalem sees. So, okay, first of all, the guy rammed 2 Palestinians with his car before this photo was taken. So maybe that's why they stoned the car. Huh. I wonder why that building collapsed. Reuters, Alan continues. And then he has, this is amazing, a headline. Gaza block collapses after Israeli strike. Rocket hits Tel Aviv building. Gaza block collapses after Israeli strike. Rocket hits Tel Aviv building. All right, what happened to the building? That's kind of, an entire block. Okay. Here's Twitter itself adding to the propaganda blitz. Leaked Israeli PR docs urge its propagandists to stress they are fighting Hamas, not civilians. Twitter is doing its job for them. Were these kids Hamas or those worshippers at the mosque? No, but Twitter defames them anyway. And then he shows the update on Twitter. Death toll climbs as violence between Israeli forces and Hamas escalates. Again, climbing, escalating. between forces. Okay. Israel launched a new airstrike into Gaza on Tuesday, leveling an evacuated 13-story residential building, while hundreds of rockets, and that's in quotes, while hundreds of rockets from Palestinian militants reportedly hit southern Israel and extended the violence to Tel Aviv, according to CNN. Since Monday, at least 28 Palestinians, including 10 children, have been killed, say Palestinian officials, and at least 3 Israeli women were also killed in the first Israeli deaths in this current standoff. Okay, the first Israeli deaths. Okay, so we're talking about, I'm not making light of or dismissing the 3 lives lost on the Israeli side, but also 28 Palestinians, they matter too. And what's the ratio there? 28 divided by 3? 9. So it's greater than that, actually. So you got 9 Palestinians per Israeli killed. And I guess that's somehow more or less equivalent. Okay. Then Alan goes to a piece at the Times. Israel's Jerusalem blunders only benefit Iran. Storming of mosque compound undermines bridge building with Arab states and U.S. relations. That's by Roger Boys. And as Alan points out, it wasn't a blunder. It was a calculated and premeditated attack on a civilian population. Shameful article from the Times. No, wait, which Times are these? These are the Times. It's a British thing, yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, and it's true. It's not a blunder. It's not like oh, whoops, we overreacted. I mean, again, they use disproportionate force as policy. At least, like, not to damn this with faint praise, but at least, and of course, not to, he's framing this as only as it relates to Iran, the enemy of the United States and Israel, quote unquote enemy. So he's framing it. It's a very, non-Palestinian victims focused framing, but whatever. I mean, at least hopefully it'll reach some people who would not otherwise be reached. 18, in which the Financial Times presents Palestine as the aggressor and Israel is attempting to quote unquote calm tensions. Other trash. Here's the article. Hamas rocket attacks provoke Israeli retaliation in Gaza. You know what? Let me just change this because can I edit the headline? I'm going to make it, it's going to be a weird thumbnail now if I do it this way, but especially because I'm smiling. Whoa, really weird. But let's just say going over media's biased reading examples of media's pro-Israel. Okay. Media's pro-Israel bias, a reading. All right, let's keep going. All right. Weird sound shit, Katie. Oh, weird sound. All right. You could be a little nicer about this, sir. Why do I even respond to such rude behavior? Let me just check my settings. I guess I'm reinforcing it. No, it's the correct sound. It's correct sound. Okay. Boo. Boo, person who said that. It's scrabbled. Your mic. Is my mic scrabbled, everyone? Is my mic scrabbled? It's okay now? All right. All right. Why do you have to curse at me when you're talking about my mic? Like, why can't you just say your mic sounds weird? I'm not like a prude. I don't care if you curse, but why do you have to be so aggressive about it? So sensitive. Relax. Yeah, I'm sensitive. Should I put you on a timeout? My mic is fine. Thank you, Brian. Jesus Christ. Okay, I get it. The sound was bad for a few seconds. No, that's good to know. But you still don't have to say sounds like shit. Now this is going to be in the midst. All right, this is why I'm not going to read the thingies. I try to be responsive, but now in the midst of a very serious discussion. Thank you, Renato. Okay. All right. Now we're having this very serious discussion, and we're going to be interrupting that with my chiding my viewers for their rude commentary. Okay. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, here it is. Okay. In which the Financial Times presents Palestine as the aggressor and Israel is attempting to calm tensions. Utter trash. Headline reads: Hamas rocket attacks provoke Israeli retaliation in Gaza. Israeli government attempt to calm tensions in Jerusalem by reining in settlers march fails to halt violence. That's amazing. Okay, and that's a photo of a Palestinian on the left with Itamar Ben-Gvir, head of the far-right Jewish Power Party. That's a great name. Imagine if there was a Muslim Power Party, Islamic Power Party. I have a feeling the United States press and the Western media would be reporting on them differently. In the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood of East Jerusalem. Again, it's nice that Israel is reining in the extremist settlers who they send out to evict and populate Palestinian areas. Okay. So that's great. That's like unleashing terrorists, basically, and then reining them in. Okay. Let's see. What do we got next? Is that it? That can't be it. 17. Wasn't a blunder. Okay, we got some more. Well, no, that's just an important point about. Okay, let's see. We got some more. This is good. Crowdsource. Other people talk about it. Okay. New York Times. Okay, except he tagged the wrong Times. Okay. New York Times. Israelis watch bombs drop on Gaza from front row seats. Whoa. Israelis watch bombs drop on Gaza from front row seats. I mean, that's not that surprising, though. I guess it's taking out it's like passive voice because they're just watching bombs drop. But that's not passive voice, but it's definitely denying the agency of Israel dropping the bombs. Okay, what else do we got? Let's go back to that thread. Provoke. All right, I think that's it. There have to be more though, guys. Come on, there are more. Let's help this guy. Let's give him some more sources. I got some personally. What did I have? Let's see. All right, because I did a call for action. Let's see if I got any good responses. I put in Allen's. Let's see. Did anyone give me any good ones? Okay, here's some good ones. Okay, good. Okay, we got some more. Hold on, guys. Hold your horses. Oh, I look really tired. Okay. So thanks for Faith Fluctuates, John S., for providing some examples. Tensions have been building through Ramadan. Again, at Ramadan. Am I sharing this? Yeah, it's very hard to see. It drives me crazy. I don't know why they can't do a better job of this. Twitter. Okay. Let's see. All right. At Ramadan, you know what? Let me try to do something. Save the image. All right, download. Now let me try to drag it into a window. See if that makes it bigger. How do I do that? Show in Finder. Okay, cool. Now let me see if it just gets bigger. Okay. Genius. No, not a genius, but pretty close to it. Just saying. Hold on. All right, screen share. Okay. Tensions have been building through Ramadan. As Ramadan clashes erupted nightly between police and Palestinians protesting against security barriers outside Damascus Gate, which had prevented them from gathering there, Palestinian anger was further exacerbated by a march of ultra-nationalist Jewish extremists close to the same area, held in protest at a spate of of videos posted on social media showing Palestinians assaulting ultra-Orthodox Jews in the city and by revenge assaults on Palestinians by Jewish extremists. Okay. Yeah. All right. All right, guys, not to be all king of comedy. Mom, taping. Robert De Niro, great movie by Martin Scorsese. Highly recommend it. But we're going to have to pause this, which makes sense because there are just way too many examples of media bias. So I'll try to do some more of these. I'm driving to, well, I'll be driven today. I don't drive. So, but someone in my family does. So maybe I'll do some more of these from the care or maybe, from when I get home. But guys, this has been great. Make sure you subscribe, press subscribe and the bell if you like the show. I make all the video stuff accessible. But driving Miss Daisy, that's cute. So send a shekel or two. You can support the show with $1 on Patreon, and of course for $5 you get bonus stuff. But yeah, Sandra Bernhardt was awesome in that. But yeah, subscribe, like, share, subscribe to the YouTube and to the Patreon. And what else? Yeah, I'll be seeing you guys soon. Oh, thank you for joining the Patreon. Everyone do it. And there's the Discord, but I can't remember how to access it. Yeah, so guys, thank you for coming. I'll be covering this more. Notifications on upcoming streams are reaching me late. Not sure what the F is going on. I don't know. But want to thank everyone for stopping by. Remember, write in the comments any things that you want me to cover that are live. And I will see you soon.